Today, we're diving into a new kind of donation that could seriously change the game for nonprofit fundraising. We're not talking about cash or stocks, we're talking about cryptocurrency. And yeah, it might seem a little complicated, but the potential here is just way too big to ignore. So let's start with just one number, $6,295. Now, this isn't some random fundraising goal. It's a statistic from 2022 that honestly reveals a hidden ocean of potential for nonprofits. So what is it? Get this. It's the average crypto donation from that year. Now, compare that to the average online cash gift. It's nearly 31 times larger. I mean, that's the kind of difference between just contributing to a program and being able to fully fund a brand new one. That huge gap points to a significant, and for a lot of organizations, a completely untapped group of donors. So let's talk about who these people are behind these really transformative gifts. You know, a chart like this, it doesn't just show a difference in dollars. It shows a difference in philanthropic scale. We're talking about moving from small, transactional giving to potentially huge, transformational gifts, often from just a single person. So who are these donors? Well, we're talking about a community of about 52 million Americans who own crypto. And they're not just investing, they are absolutely giving. In fact, think about this. Nearly half of them donated over $1,000 to charity back in 2020, using their digital assets to make a real-world impact. Okay, so the opportunity is crystal clear. But let's be real, so are the questions. How do you actually tap into this pool without taking on a bunch of unnecessary risk or some massive technical headache? Well, the good news is you really don't have to be a crypto expert. There's a clear, responsible roadmap to follow. Let's break it down. And for a minute, just forget all the complex tech stuff. Based on some great guidance from the accounting and advisory firm Forvis Mazars, this whole process can be simplified into 4 pretty manageable steps. And what I love about this roadmap is that it shows the first steps aren't even about technology. They're about strategy. It's about getting your leadership on board and updating your policies. Once you've done that, then you get to step 3, which is establishing controls. And that involves a really critical hands-on decision. This next part builds right on that roadmap. Once your policies are in place, you've got to decide how you'll physically receive and manage these digital assets. And there are basically 3 main ways to do it. The right choice here really truly depends on your organization's specific situation. You have to ask yourselves, what are our internal resources? What's our comfort level with the tech? And probably most important of all, what is our tolerance for risk? So this table lays out the trade-offs pretty clearly. A self-custody wallet, that means you hold the crypto yourself, which gives you total control but also makes you fully responsible for security. Then there's a donation processor. That's a third-party service that handles the whole transaction for you, which is much, much simpler. And finally, an intermediary, like a donor-advised fund. That's the most hands-off approach. They manage everything and just send you the cash. And listen, whichever method you choose, your internal policy needs to have clear answers to these questions before that first donation even arrives. Are you going to sell the crypto immediately to avoid the market swings, or will you hold it? How are you going to account for it? And so critically, who in your organization literally holds the keys to these assets? Okay, that brings us to one of the absolute most important parts of all this, compliance. Specifically, how the IRS views these gifts and how they have to be valued for tax purposes. So because the IRS treats crypto as property, not as cash, there's one term that becomes the foundation for all your accounting and for the donor's tax deduction: fair market value. So what does the IRS actually mean by that? All right, this is the official definition, straight from IRS publication 561. The key thing to remember here is that it's not what the donor originally paid for the crypto, it's what it was worth on the open market on the exact date you received the donation. The IRS uses this really simple example to make the whole concept crystal clear. Just like with used clothes, the value isn't what someone paid for it years ago. For crypto, it's the price it would sell for on an exchange at the exact moment of the donation, not some made-up or inflated value. Now remember this number, $5,000. This is a really important threshold, not necessarily for you, but for your donors who are looking to claim a tax deduction. And you might be thinking, okay, but why does my donor's tax stuff matter to me? Well, because for any gift over $5,000, you are very likely going to be asked to sign their tax form, that's Form 8283, to acknowledge that you received the gift. Just being aware of this helps you support your donors and makes the whole process smoother for everyone.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from the sheer size of the opportunity to the nitty-gritty of IRS rules. So what's the single most important thing to take away from all this? You absolutely do not need to have all the answers right now. The goal isn't to master blockchain technology or to suddenly become a crypto trader. The real first step is actually much, much simpler. The most effective action you can take right now is to just start an informed conversation with your organization's leadership. Use the data we talked about, use that four-step plan to frame the opportunity and lay out a path forward. Your next major gift, it might not be in dollars. And exploring this now just means that when that gift arrives, you'll be ready. Thanks for watching.